but you can be one or the other, cause it doesn't have to be one and the same. Hyperfixation and procrastination and new ideas every day. Depression or issues with our motivation and not hearing what you will say. We will be motivated if what we are doing is important, engaging our fun. Organization, prioritization will typically struggle a ton. We pace and we fidget with every digit and have a hard time sitting still. We hit the
I mean, my God, if that doesn't sum it up.
We are in episode 7 of Mental Mismanagement. We are your hosts, Ashley Burkeen.
Pat Fitzgerald.
And we have a special guest for you guys today. He is in the waiting room. This is a contractor that's having massive success in his business. We are excited to have him here and have him kind of speak to some topics that we already can speak to, but he gets to add value to in addition to what we already talked about. So without further ado, I'm so excited to have enter the studio, Mr. Spencer. And I'm not going to say your last name because I always mess it up.
It's Bubenik, like Buick.
Oh, okay.
Wow, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Right. Way easier with that explanation. Thank
That's
you.
pretty cool.
We have t-shirts that say Bubenik because that's what most people say.
Right. That's what I was going to say. That's why I did
I was going to say Bubnik.
Or Bubnik. I like that too.
At least I wasn't as perverted as you two. Jeez.
Spencer's like, thanks, just my last name.
Right.
All right, Spencer. So construction company, you have been in business how long? Because I know it's different, the company and then you taking over, right?
Right. So the company I work at now, Kinsman Construction, I formed with my cousin because we're kin. That's right. We formed July 29th, 2022. So working on 2
right
years
out of
now.
COVID.
What's that?
Right out of COVID.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
awesome.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Lucky you.
So everybody's wanting
That's pretty good.
Everybody's wanting to change things up, and
Yeah.
but been doing this kind of work for several years beforehand. I could go on and on, but I'm going to try and keep things succinct.
No, keep going.
No, keep going.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So I was born in 1986, and
Well, he went way back.
I know.
right, I took you at your word.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, especially gave me the mic.
I got to be careful, man.
Right.
That's true. That's true. I'm autistic. Come on.
Okay, so that brings me
Hey,
to
that's actually that actually brings up a good subject right there.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why it was important for me to have you on is because you had shared that with me. And the moment you shared it with me was super powerful for me because I don't know if it was a moment where you're like, I can say that and that's okay. And so reading that message was very like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like so good for him. He's owning that. I love that. So tell us a little bit about that. Maybe how you came to be diagnosed with it.
Sure.
Your thoughts on that. Let us know a little bit about that in you.
So there's been a lot of research and understanding that has happened in the field regarding autism and ADD and ADHD.
Oh yeah. It's
So
come a long way since we were just in school and
It has.
learning about it.
yeah. So when I was in school, elementary school, I was just kind of class clown.
Yeah.
Would always kind of get up, say stuff out of turn. But I didn't have any problem with the schoolwork. I was always able to complete it. So it was never.
See, I was the opposite. I couldn't do the schoolwork.
Well, if it was in school, I could do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
While I was there.
Nice.
Nice.
But as I got older, in middle school, that changed, especially because I went to a magnet school for the gifted and talented, and homework became, well, in order to really understand the concepts, the homework would have had to have been done just to get the practice in.
Right.
But that wasn't me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went through middle school struggling, but when I got to high school, it really became an issue. And my mom is a nurse, and so she's more open to things that, you can't necessarily see, but there are symptoms. And when I was in 10th grade, I finally went and got tested.
Okay.
And
It wasn't until 10th grade before they tested you for this?
yes, because my dad was of the mind that you just got to give yourself to the work. Just got to do it. It's going to be hard, but you just got to do it.
Okay.
He didn't think it was a real thing. I was like, yeah, I understand that, but
That's hard.
I can't unless like I have 10 minutes to get it done. And then I have that that
Mhm.
that
Wow.
desire to do it. So yeah, that was when I finally was diagnosed. But I've been seeing counselors most of my life, which probably stemmed from my parents going and then just them just realizing that it'd be a good thing for us.
Yeah.
But after diagnosis, I also started seeing psychiatrists to treat depression and anxiety, which became more apparent as I got older as well.
Mhm.
Wow.
Do you think that some of your autistic symptoms or traits was pushing out the anxiety and the depression piece of it? Because you didn't necessarily understand the autistic side of it?
Yes and no.
Okay. Okay.
Because the anxiety and depression came from not being able to do things as well as I thought I should be able to do them, or as well as other people told me I should be able to do them at that point.
That makes sense. Okay.
So
So this was 10th grade. You get
Yeah.
diagnosed with autism. Do you feel a relief? Or is it just another, oh crap, now I've got this to deal with?
no, it's a relief
Nice.
actually.
Because now you have an explanation for what's going
Right.
on. Okay.
Because before, just been, oh, you're a little depressed, whatnot. So we'll
Sure.
give you some medicine. And that actually did help a little bit. It made me feel like actually doing things.
Yeah.
But not to the extent that necessarily need to be done.
Right.
So once I had the medication, it was very apparent. Like teachers, that is, at school would say, he's a totally different person. In physics, I went from a D to an A minus because I was able to actually do the homework.
You could sit down and focus on it.
Right. And learn it. And it became something that I wanted to do.
Sure.
Because usually that immediate payoff is what's necessary to
instant gratification.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of changed things, being actually able to focus and absorb these things. It made it fun to do that.
Sure.
So that became, an interest as well.
So okay, this is 10th grade. So you're what, 15, 14, 15? Somewhere around there.
15. Yeah.
Yeah. 15, 16 maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was trying to think of when I started driving, what grade I was in. So now you're in high school. You've got the typical high school bullies. You got everything else that's going on with your life, puberty, and God knows what else, right? So you're going through all these different stages. Now you've been hit with, okay, I have autism, which is a relief to know now you have a diagnosis. You have a path to, I wouldn't say fixing it, but a path to dealing with it, basically, right?
Right.
Okay. So then what does that do to you? So you say that, you're now able to finish some of your quests. You're able to do some of your homework, and you're feeling good about yourself, right? What does that do to you socially at that point?
Not much.
Does it change for good, for
So-
worse? Does it change at all?
I guess, I don't know. It doesn't change at all.
No.
I guess. So halfway through 9th grade, I switched high schools
Okay.
from Metro, just another magnet school in the city, to Westminster. And so I went from a school that had 250 kids to a school that had about 120 kids in my class.
Oh my God.
So that was a big.
So yeah,
big
your
change.
school's huge now.
It was, yeah. And then
You're just a little fly on the wall at that point.
And then the first week in gym, we played water polo. So that meant I just changed into a swimsuit in front of all these guys.
Yeah.
And add insult to injury, I got smashed in the face with a volleyball that very first day.
Oh my
But
God.
the guy that did it it was pretty cool. So we ended up hanging out for a bit. But most of my high school career, I would eat lunch in the drama room
Really?
because I like to read. And also I had
Okay.
drama after lunch.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, that's lunchtime in school is already a terrible mental
Oh my
stressor,
God.
right?
I hated it. I hated school.
See, what I would do is I worked in the lunchroom
Mm.
because they had a little snack shop.
Oh, nice.
I was like, hey, they let you work there and they give you a free lunch.
Oh, nice.
So-
Pretty cool. Okay.
I already have the entrepreneurial mindset from the
Right.
get-go. I like it.
So I do that for half the lunch, and then I'd go upstairs and eat my little cosmic brownie. And
Oh, those
Awesome.
are the best.
Terrible for poison. Anyways.
Oh, those are the best. I need you to grow them on your farm.
I will do my best to make you a fake version of it. How does your autism? Okay, so then you become a business owner, right? And I'm also
Well, you
somewhere in
skipped from
between there.
10th grade all the way
Yeah.
up to business. owner.
Right, right.
That was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm also neurodivergent, and
Mhm.
neurodivergent is just people that receive information. Their brain just filters it differently, right?
Correct.
Autism is really like, I think you guys kind of took the first definition of that. Neurodivergent stem from that, but ADHD has a lot of similar traits as autism does.
Mhm. So the way that it's, from what my understanding, the way it's looked at now
Mhm,
is that autism is a whole spectrum.
mhm,
Sure.
If you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism.
mm.
Right. Yeah.
It
Oh,
varies
sure.
widely.
I had 15 questions at the beginning of I wanted to go into, okay, what kind, what stage, what area,
Mhm.
what like you just said, you meet one person with autism, you've only met one person with
Mhm.
autism.
Yeah.
Every single one of them is different.
So there are some traits that are pretty consistent,
Mhm.
Okay.
like the impulsivity, hyperactivity, attention deficit. And the way it was described to me was ADD and ADHD are the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just they call it ADHD when you're more hyperactive, ADD when you're more la la land.
Well, I don't even know that they diagnose ADD at all anymore. It's
Right.
pretty much.
Yeah.
When I was in 6th grade, I got diagnosed with ADD. And then it was like years after that, it all of a sudden ADHD came
Mhm.
out. And I'm like, well, I don't have that. I'm good.
Yeah.
When in reality, I do.
Yeah. Right. Right. So I know we skipped a whole chapter of your book, but how does autism show up for you in your business the most? Because being a business owner, I couldn't imagine, right? Well, I can imagine because I have ADHD, but like one level more. We'll talk about the superpower of autism in a minute. But how that shows up for me is there's like very easy, simple things that most business owners can do where I struggle with. So how does that show up the most for you in business?
So getting bids done.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a good one.
Mostly. It's one of those things. I know it'll only take me, hour and a
Yeah.
half at
Mhm.
most. But I tell the customers, I'll give me about a week to work on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
And then that night before, morning of, that's when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It takes you a week to get mentally prepared to do it.
Well,
Yeah.
that too, because
know?
honestly, I am thinking about it that
Mhm.
week.
Yeah.
It's rambling around in my brain. I'm sure you guys can relate, is that I have a hard time focusing on one thing.
Sure.
And so one thing about ADD that I really like is that it's not actually a deficit of attention.
Right.
It's an overabundance of
Right.
it. And so anything
Yeah, I never
that's
understood why they
interesting-
called it that. Because it's not that I'm not getting enough attention. I'm getting, there's, like you
Well, you're
just said.
getting the attention. but you're giving-
Exactly.
you're
Exactly.
giving-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Exactly.
hard part. So I think that's a real interesting way to think about it, because it lets me schedule things in a certain way.
Hmm.
I know that if I have to switch between bids to visits with clients to site walks, I'm going to miss something. So I need to have time blocks for just bids. Going to do bids for 4 hours today.
Mm,
Okay.
That's it.
it's great.
So I'm in bid mode. I can knock them out,
Mhm.
Okay.
and the computer.
You're good.
I'm awful fidgety, guys. Can't imagine why.
Well, then do you also feel like because you're sitting stationary, you're not really getting up because you're blocking that time where you can't get up and do squirrel moments because you're not getting distracted by walking past something that has to be done upstairs, or do you know what I mean? Like you're not distracted by the other things that are more interesting or that also need to be done
Right.
because you're stationary.
There's
Because-
always something more.
Because I know I will be.
Yeah.
But also to deal with that, I give myself time during the day. Hey,
Mm.
it's okay to take half hour, 45 minutes to just play a stupid phone game, to read something interesting, because that allows me,
I like that you allow yourself
Yeah.
to do that.
and that's what it is, because otherwise I'll just keep going.
Never looked at it that way. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what Ashley was saying about taking vacations. I work 18 hours a day. Okay, dummy.
Yeah,
Not what I'm
dummy.
here for. So yeah, it's good, especially because recently everybody's talking about self-care.
Mhm.
And as far as mental health goes, I think that's something that's really lacking.
Yes.
'Cause people don't take the time for themselves, because for years we've been told, hey, you got to put in those hours, you got to get them in.
Oh yeah.
Um,
We've
and
been
if-
taught to be the worker bees.
right.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you're like, what do you mean I don't have to do this? What do you mean I'm supposed to take a break? What?
Yeah. Well, I think like we've been made to feel lazy if we don't hustle, which I hate that word, but if we don't hustle, we're made to feel like we haven't done anything. Or in reality, and we've mentioned this before on podcasts, this has been a trend with people that have that. I don't want to say struggle. I always say conquer, because it's a daily thing, right? And it's not always a struggle. Sometimes we learn coping skills, but it's been a trending thing where rest is so important. And that's important for the average person. Not that any of you are average, but then people that are neurodivergent or do struggle with mental health side of things, it is extremely important for them to be able to take that rest. So I'm glad that you do that. And I'm glad that you shared that that's one of your coping skills with
Yeah.
the crazy. So I just mentioned superpower, and you and I talk about this a lot. Because there is a stigma sometimes around these words: mental health, mental illness, autism, ADHD, depression, right?
Everything. Yeah.
And I told Spencer, I said, I think that people with autism are genius, and they just think levels above any of us, right? And there are superpowers with my ADHD that I love. I like all the shiny things. And so like if I'm excited about something, which same with you, right? We're going to get that done because we're stoked about it, right? What are some superpowers that you have with your autism that you can name and claim and say, I have autism, but this is my superpower?
Sure. So I want to start off by taking a step back and addressing how it is a superpower.
Okay.
Is that some people think that autism is actually the next form of human evolution.
Ooh.
But as far as superpowers go, one that I have is that I'll see things other people don't. I'll make connections that other people don't. Even if it's something that I'm relatively new to,
Mhm.
Sure.
it's not something I would go into somewhere and say, hey, I can do this. But
Right.
over the years, I've learned that, I need to trust myself, because
Yes.
when I just think about it and let it go, that's what happens.
That's so good.
So that, I think, is probably the biggest superpower. I also have a pretty good memory.
Mhm.
Pretty good memory.
That is definitely something that I've seen with autistic people, that they're almost like a photographic memory.
That's unfair.
I can't remember what I did this morning.
I can't remember where I put my keys, and they're in my hand.
Right. Well, I have that too. But there are other things that if I'm really committed to something, or, it's really important to me, sometimes it's the littlest things I'll remember.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's important or crucial to a relationship. And
Sure.
it's one thing. Oh yeah, you mentioned that, and they're like, oh, you were listening. So
I love that you say that, like, I've learned to trust myself. And I think that's so huge and powerful to share with people, because of the stigma, sometimes we don't necessarily want to attach. We want to detach from that, when that's just a part of who we are.
We've talked about that.
Yeah. In addition to who we are, right? All the other great things, that's also great and can be great for us. So I love that you trust that with your intuition, because a lot of people don't understand your gut feeling is literally your body telling you, like, your brain sends a trigger to your heart, and those collectively send a signal to your stomach. That's what
Well,
a
you
gut
got to
feeling
think
is.
it's reacting to certain stigmas or how do I say that? Stimulations
Yes.
from the earth. Okay.
Yeah.
From the things around you and stuff like that. And your body will pick up on that, certain vibrations, certain frequency levels and things like that. It's been actually scientifically proven. People don't just think I'm going off on a limb here. There are certain things that our bodies, certain frequencies and things like that, that we will resonate with in the earth.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
And that is exactly what you're talking about. That's that gut feeling. It's not only your body, it's your brain, it's the earth, it's everything telling you, yeah, that's not a good idea.
Right.
the gut is referred to as the second brain.
Mm-hmm.
Just
See, I've
the
never heard that.
microbiome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Typically, people that struggle with mental health and that kind of stuff, they eat like crap.
Okay, so there's another thing to that, because now that I've gone to this healthy diet,
Mhm.
I don't have near as much anxiety as I
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah.
Stop drinking the soda, stop drinking all the crap that's there. And my anxiety level is like dropped significantly. I'm not going to say it's gone, because it's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is something to your gut health versus that attaches to your brain health, basically. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, something to look into. Another episode.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
Yeah, no, we're definitely, this is going to be a part 2, 5, 8, 20. Yeah, for sure. So what has been your, other than the bids, right? Those are something you don't like to do, but what's been the biggest struggle for you?
So believe it or not, networking.
I believe that.
At first,
Networking, really?
yeah, because you got to go and meet a whole bunch of people you don't know.
So it's
The
okay.
social piece of it.
It's
Mostly
it's that initial getting involved.
because I know that I'm an acquired taste,
Sure.
and I'm a lot like your mom, Patty, actually, in that I'm either all in, or I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, mom. Yeah. Yeah, mom's either all in or she said, yeah, I don't even want to touch it. It's like, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was talking to her yesterday. I was like, that's me too. Because when I first started, I didn't want to say, oh, I can do that. Because if I didn't know how to do it, I'm not comfortable saying,
Sure.
Oh man,
do
I
it.
did. I was like, yeah, we can do that.
Well,
I did it for the longest time, and we did. But that was part of me. I was able to just do anything.
right. I have too much anxiety.
See, okay,
So
I can
it's
see
like,
that. Yeah.
I'm worried about what they'll think. I'm worried about, the way it looks while it's in progress. I'm worried about, well, what if we do have a mistake
Mhm.
that we didn't foresee because we don't know what we're doing?
That's amazing, because I'm the
And
exact
then-
opposite when it comes to that stuff. I'm like, oh, here, hold my beer, watch this. It's like, holy cow, I can do that. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna figure it out.
Mhm. But if it's
That's
other people's money is when it.
that's when I love it the
When I
most.
start-
I have less.
Patrick's like, that's when it's the easiest.
Yeah, I'm
All
like,
right. Well, maybe when I'm at your stage.
but I totally get where you're coming at with that, where you feel the anxiousness, the anxiety of oh my God, is this going to be right? Is this what they thought they wanted? Is this coming out to be what they pictured and all that other stuff? Absolutely. I've had those thoughts and all that type of stuff running through my head, but that creates the fun part for me, that challenge of, if I don't get this right, what's next?
Sure.
Mhm.
But see, that's the cool side for me. I love that part where it gives you the anxiety and the mental anguish that you're like, oh my God, I don't want to deal with that.
That's right. But
I want the rush.
But what's interesting is I know that networking can solve those problems for me.
It's
If
great.
I know people and I know them and know that they want to do things well, just like I do,
Yeah.
and they do these things, well,
Mhm.
hey, that helps me. That's not so scary. That's not so hard.
Mm,
And
it's good.
actually, it's really the best option.
I like it.
So I've turned, at first it was networking, it was real scary. But now that I've seen, the actual fruit and the benefit of it, it's like, oh, well,
It's not that bad after all. is it?
it's still uncomfortable.
Sure.
Well, because you have to get up, you have to explain yourself, you have to promote yourself. And we've said it before, we're not trained to promote us.
Right.
We've been taught for so many years that we're not the important, everything else is important. So don't put
Right.
the importance on yourself, where the whole point to promoting your business is promoting yourself.
That's right. And I'm a middle child. So
Oh, jeez.
So there's that too.
Yikes. You poor thing.
So is there a social side to that too? Because I know you and I had a conversation. Whatever you just said to yourself, by the way, we're going to do an episode today, Patrick and I, about self-talk and self-love. How'd you say that? Like, somebody has, people have to take you in doses, but you said it differently.
I'm an acquired taste.
An acquired taste.
Yeah. Because if I come out hot, people are going to think I'm rude,
Sure.
insensitive, and, they don't care.
Sure.
But
But-
they just don't know you though.
Right.
But
and
we're a society based on first impression.
But
and
to
that's
be
the hardest
clear,
part.
what I'd say is rude and insensitive. To be clear.
So
But it's all about context. If you know that I'm only saying it to be funny because we've talked,
Yeah.
and I know that's not the case.
Mhm.
I know that you're not trying, to do things easy and just
Sure.
it's not one of those can't see it from my house kind of deals.
Yeah.
I've fired guys for saying that. I have.
And I say it for fun.
No, I've actually fired guys for saying that.
Right. But
I'm like, that's not how we do things.
I would never say that as a legitimate reason.
Sure.
Like I hate the term good enough.
No.
Um,
There's no such thing.
but
for
another
one.
thing is perfect is the enemy of great.
Whoa.
And part of my
I need to record that.
do
We need to pull that.
part of my struggle is I have a certain level of quality that I want to provide.
Mhm.
But if the client doesn't know that I'm providing that level of quality, why am I doing it? For me personally, maybe that's worth a little something. But if it's, if it takes me 2 hours to do something because I really do it and the customer is expecting a 1 hour job.
They're paying for a 1 hour job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who
wins?
Well, right. You could both win.
Yeah. See, there was something that was told to me a long, long time ago by a very, very, very smart man. And he was not a rich man, worked for himself for 50 plus years. And he told me, he says, if you ever want to get rich in this industry, meaning the carpentry world, you put your conscience in your back pocket and you never take it out. And it rang with me for the longest time because he's right. The people that get way ahead are usually the snakes, the people that don't care, the people that are going to come in, do exactly what they say they're going to do or not, and get out of there. Where there's guys like you, me, your husband, Ashley, we'll go in and we'll do our best job, whether they paid for it or not. They're getting the best of us. And I can't go to that other side and just be like, well, it's good enough.
Right.
You just can't.
Well, do you think that that has to do with your, hopefully I said this word right, intrinsic motivation that people with autism have, which is like, if you're not motivated by the bells and whistles. And so to you, mastering the value of that for your clients is like what is being triggered in you because you want to master
'Cause
the
I wanna
value
be
you're
good at it,
providing
yeah.
if they care or not, because they don't know. Is that part of your motivation?
I mean, I enjoy being able to exceed expectations.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part too.
So it's a definite delicate balance.
Yeah.
So it definitely is motivation to, do better than what they expected.
Yeah.
But
there has to be a point.
A limit, yes.
Yeah, there has to be a limit to that. And there's a time and place for all of it. Obviously. I mean, if you're doing this beautiful, elaborate library in their, west wing of their house, and it takes you an extra hour to trim it out just a little bit cleaner and a little bit nicer, you're going to do it. They're expecting that in a way, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're putting in a brand new kitchen in a trailer home, yeah, they expect a good quality, but they're not expecting you to trim this thing out like it's the Taj Mahal. Mm-hmm. So there's that fine line of I'm doing my best work for what I had, what I'm giving to work with at this point. And I'm doing way more because I just want to prove a point. And it's like, you're losing when you're trying to prove a point.
Right.
You're losing. Everybody, everybody loses, believe it or not. Even the customer, especially if you go to the Taj Mahal in that trailer home, the customer's going to be like, yeah, it looks great, but it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit what we have here. This isn't for that. So yeah, there's always a time and place for all that.
So this is a joke phrase, but it does ring true. Good enough for who it's for.
Yeah.
Which it's just context.
Sure.
It's customer service. It's providing the value that they need for their situation.
It's funny. My wife and I talk about Amazon's customer service. It's unreal. It is probably some of the best customer service you'll ever have. They don't ask questions. They don't care. They will send you out something new, whether you got it or not. They don't care. It costs them less money to just send out a new product than it would be to go and research whether or not it was dropped off, where it was sent to, what it was. They have it down. I mean, it's like, as big as they are, their customer service is still impeccable. And maybe it's just because they don't ask me questions and I get what I'm supposed to get regardless, but it's like they actually try. And I'll tell you this, there was one time that I didn't get a package, but it was my son's birthday, and they made a point that night to drop off that package for my son's birthday. And it was dropped off at like 10:30 at night by a courier in their private vehicle. And they texted me on, hey, I'm going off on the whole thing again, but it's like, you're right. Good enough depending on the person, obviously, but there's always that, again, there's that fine line of
being able to have personal satisfaction as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Yeah.
And feeling morally correct about it.
Right.
There's that side of things where I can't consciously screw somebody over. I can't.
No. Well,
If we're playing a board game,
That's a different story. Now, hang on a minute. That if we're playing cards, look out. I will take every dime you have if we're playing poker. But outside of that, I can't consciously screw somebody over. Accidents happen, things. I get that. That's not what I'm talking about. It is the purposely going out there, overcharging them or under delivering on purpose. And, you sell them one product, but you go and you put in a different product. I can't do that. I can't stand the people that do that. I'm going to string them all up.
I would. Yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
That would be terrible. Like we don't even, if we do a kitchen or a bathroom, we have certain specific faucets that you have to use from a certain brand.
Yes.
We won't install anything else because we just know what we have gotten calls back to
We are the
repair,
exact same way.
what don't last. And sometimes I can ruffle feathers with clients though, because I mean, a faucet that's $500 is a lot to their bid, but you have to be like, okay, it's $500 now or $500 every quarter over the next 2 years. Like
Right.
you decide, right?
Yeah.
and
So
also the cost to install and reinstall
yeah.
every time.
Well, and then, you look at your bottom dollar too. How many times you got to go back for warranties?
Yeah.
Okay. So we try to streamline that. I don't want to go back for a warranty to your house. I want to go back for a barbecue at your house.
Yeah.
I want to go back and eat in that kitchen we just put together.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back because I'd have to fix something.
Yeah.
And that's a major thing. It's finding the right products, finding the right fit, and then hoping everything works.
Yeah. Hoping everything else comes together. I like it. So I just want to talk about sensory overload really quick because we do work construction and have ADHD. To be on a job site for me, I get so overstimulated with God forbid a saw is going, like they're sawing something and banging something at the same time and their music's in the background. Like I walk in a job site and I'm like, oh my gosh, how are you guys working here all day? I'd have to have
man. I have to
headphones.
have all that.
No.
Oh yeah.
I don't hear it.
You don't hear it? So jealous of you.
So I don't listen to music usually.
Okay, that's interesting.
If I'm intoxicated, then I'll get down. But
It's funny
really,
because I don't either. I listen to talk radio most
right.
of the time.
Every once in a while, I might find a song
Yeah.
that really slaps.
Slaps.
And that's kids speak, I think.
Yes, it is.
I'm so out of it at this point. I'm not even.
Well, you have
Right.
toddlers
It's
still.
a bop.
Yeah.
And that one I can listen to 20 times in a row because it's got that release.
God, I do the same thing.
And that's why, because not every song will release that. But apparently normies, they listen to music and they get all kinds of feels.
I'm beginning to think I'm not normal.
No, we're
Right.
not.
That's right.
We're neurodivergent. We're not normies.
Yeah.
Oh,
NT, neurotypical,
Yeah.
normie.
Yeah. I learned what that was this year.
I'm learning it right now. What are you talking about?
Here's another thing is you tell somebody you're ADD, they're like, oh yeah, me too. I think everybody is.
Yes, everybody is.
It's like, Sharon, we all go pee. But if you're doing it 600
Poor
times a day,
Sharon.
you have a problem.
Damn it, Sharon.
Yes. Because not one size fits all. And there's so many traits that just are,
That's right.
normal with stressors too.
And we'll bring it back. You met one person with autism?
Wait a
We've
minute.
met one
Who's the
person with
host
autism.
on here? Because now I'm the one learning everything.
Spencer.
I say you should have me back.
Oh, you're
Yes,
coming
we'll
back.
have to have you back for sure.
We've got 8 more episodes we
At
got to do
least.
here, man.
I know, right? 7.
No,
No,
Oh, 8 for this.
Me and him, well, the 3 of us are going to do 8 more with him on this.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a deep dive.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then I'll do some research beforehand, and then we'll go out.
Well, this is what I mean. Patrick and I mentioned this a lot in the podcast. This is why we're doing this. Is we want to let other people know, like, not only are you not alone in this, because there may be a business owner out there right now that has autism, but they don't want to share that because for whatever reason they haven't owned that piece of who they are yet and found the positive side of those things.
Yeah.
And I think having you on,
Or they have somebody in their life that creates it as a stigma.
yes, yes,
Okay, and they look down on it because of it. And
yes,
they can't. You can't.
yeah.
So even when I tell some people now, they'll joke and say, "Oh, you're artistic." No, I'm autistic. And they're like, "Oh," and like it's some kind of. I mean, people.
It's a foreign word. I mean, it is.
It's described as a disability.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't think it's a bad way to think. It's a different way to think.
Oh, I agree.
And as far as the next step in evolution is concerned, we're able to spend more time on these things.
Yes.
So
I've actually thought that we were supposed to be autistic, and autistic is the norm, and what we don't have is the ones that are disabled, I guess you can say. It's I don't know, you go back to ancient times and you think, okay, they saw the world in a much different way than we do. And autistic people will see the world in a much different way than your normies. I guess that's what we're calling them.
It's not
Works for
canceled
me.
yet.
It's not canceled. Works for me.
Yeah, that's so
You can try to cancel me. Let's see what happens.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, I honestly think that, like you said, I like that thought of this as the next evolution. The only problem I see with that is that the world's not ready for it.
No.
We are set up as a society to be this way. It's and that's the reason they call it disabled, is because the world is not set up for autistic people.
Somebody would have to support them so that they could do the things that they're really good at.
Right.
It's like Isaac Newton.
Man.
I'm certain he's autistic.
Sure.
Did you know he spent most of his life as the master of the London Mint, rooting out counterfeiters?
You got to be kidding me.
I'm not at all.
Look at Nikola Tesla.
Exactly. It's my next step. Albert Einstein was also probably.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Albert Einstein, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. There's nothing about him that doesn't scream autistic. I told you, geniuses.
That's
I
right.
told you.
I mean, it's because our
Well,
minds
there's actual scientific proof that a lot of geniuses are autistic. Yeah.
Of course. I'm jealous.
I mean, it comes with a lot of issues. So.
Well, I know. Well, no. Well, I understand. There's a back end to everything too, right?
I never went to high school parties.
But
Okay, but are the issues due to society not accepting?
Yes, I would think so, right?
Or the fact that society hasn't caught up to it? Because you guys, in a way, I don't mean you guys. That shouldn't be the way I pronounce it. But autistic people are almost way more advanced than a normal person
in some things.
In something, absolutely.
But the most basic things.
Well, they lack the basic things. But what if the fact is that we've dumbed down society so much that the basic things we're just don't even need? And what if we actually met the level of an autistic person and brought society up to that?
Yeah.
Where would we be today?
Actually, on hoverboards, not ones with wheels.
Like if Nikola Tesla, if somebody wanted to actually fund him, he'd be pulling power from the earth.
Yeah.
Free of charge.
Don't get me started on that. There's a whole nother episode.
That's right.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Got the government knocking on my door in a minute. Watch this.
Right. But okay, so you mentioned like not fitting in or being bullied or whatever. There's a social aspect though. I feel like would even be an ADHD, right? When we were younger, it was the kid that needed Ritalin because he was bounced off the walls. Yeah. There's so much more to that, which I think is why when people have high energy, their go-to is, oh, it was my ADHD, and you're like, maybe you just drank too much caffeine this morning. It's okay, right?
Just crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, but like the social piece, and you and I have talked about this. We're like, I don't think people understand like how to take me sometimes, like my sense of humor, even once they know me. And I think that's just going to be, if you're autistic or you have ADHD or not, that's just how some people are. And I don't think anybody's ever too much for somebody, because I say that about myself too, where I'm like, or used to, where I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm a lot to swallow. Like it's a lot to be around me. I just, I'm crazy a little bit. But then I had to come to terms with like, no, those just aren't my people. And if I get to know people and they don't understand who I am and love me for who I am, read the room, obviously, in moderation. Don't be
because you're like half the crazy of me. So it's like you're nothing.
Right? Like if they don't accept me for this, then I have to be okay with like, they're just not my people, and that's okay too.
No big deal.
Because I happen to love and adore you, Spencer, and I think you're great. And maybe it's because we're both neurodivergent, so we like have that energy that flows between us. But I appreciate people like you, and I've mentioned that before. I appreciate people that are a little off because it makes me feel like I know exactly what I'm getting with them, even if I don't know exactly what I'm getting.
Right.
You ever heard that whole, I think Foxworthy said it once, where he's like, if you're ever feeling bad about yourself, just go to a state fair.
I saw one similar. Is like, you ever feel like you're not successful in life, be reminded that there's a whole group of adults that still identify as juggalos.
Oh my God. There is too.
There is.
Oh my
I
God.
can't.
From what I heard, it's all about love and acceptance, though. So
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like
Nobody's
it.
accepting the juggalos anymore.
Except the juggalos.
Except the juggalos, yes.
So you're also one of our leaders, and you lead, which is funny. Networking makes you nervous, but you lead a whole group of people as a president of a chapter, which is huge.
How?
How
did you end up in that? Really?
I became friends with. Well, I was friends with the former president.
Okay.
I worked with him at Quick Trip, and then ran into him. He had left Arizona, came back, and he was a realtor then, and I was a GC. He invited me to networking, and I said no.
Of course, yeah.
The only thing I knew about it was my dad's experience with BNI, and it seemed like a chore, another job. I don't want to do that.
Right.
I'm autistic. I can barely, not even sure I'll be able to do my own stuff. But I say that because when I did come and visit, the camaraderie that was present was something I realized I missed from working at Quick Trip. I didn't know that I would because of my, I don't really.
But you feel like you're part of a team.
Right.
Or you're accepted or.
Right. Even though I knew I wasn't really.
Right.
Necessarily.
Right.
But I was able to see that that's what's going on. And so as I got to know Master Networks more and got to know more about why it's important to have relationships, I leaned into that and I started forming these relationships.
Yeah.
And if I'm in a room where I know half the people, whatever, they know I'm going to make a mistake. I'll make a weird sound. We'll laugh. That'll be it.
Cool. Yeah.
So I didn't want to be president because it was another chore for me to do.
Yeah, sure.
But also, I take Master Network seriously, and I want it to be done well.
Yeah.
And once again,
so did it become a control thing for you?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
So the control, maybe I just wanted to be able to help and help it grow and help other people do so. Because I saw how Master Networks, the bond method, it really does make a difference. And people don't necessarily know that it's actually extra poignant for me because I don't seek out relationships necessarily.
Okay.
And so that's why.
So let's talk about that. So I love that because what I love about that is when I say we conquer our mental illness on a daily basis, that's conquering your mental illness on a daily basis, right? You're autistic, and it being a task is something that you're like, your brain's like, ooh, absolutely not for us. But then the other part, the positive side of your mental illness is like, ooh, but we could maybe have control and be in charge, and we like to do things right. And so I'm so glad
you're
that
excited and terrified at the same time.
But you listen. What most people do is they listen to the fear, not the excitement piece of it, and so they go with the fear part, and they will never do those things. So the fact that you push through that. Right. So you almost wore a mask, but it's okay. We talked about that mask in business. Like sometimes you have to be on, read the room. Right. Yeah. So the fact that you went towards the positive side of it, even though you know you're not going to like the other side, is massive. And a lot of people do that the opposite way.
yeah, it's been a struggle, but I can definitely see the growth and the dividends. So
You just said something that caught my attention. You said you mask all the time.
Mhm.
So you put on that I'm fine face and you go out?
it's not necessarily that.
No.
It's I know that I'm supposed to act a certain way,
Okay.
and
So you feel you're held to a higher standard. So you're supposed to
maybe
be a
yes,
certain.
no, I don't even know if it's that much just because I'm president. It's within a group of people.
Social
Ah.
I know
social
I'm
norms.
supposed, I
Okay.
know I'm supposed to act a certain way.
Okay. I see what you're saying, but because of the autism and stuff like that, you have like a social awkwardness that almost like you don't know how to act a certain way
Sometimes,
sometimes. Yeah.
but I'm getting much better at it with the
Good.
practice. But like I said, I fake it. When I interact with people, I'll interact with them the way I've seen other people interact. If I
Interesting.
don't think about a list of questions to ask somebody before I meet them, when I'm sitting there small talking, not for me. I can't
Yeah.
do it.
Wow.
It's really awkward for me because part of it is if I'm going to talk to you, I want to talk to you,
Sure.
get to know you.
Mm.
But you can't always do that, with just small talk.
Did you come in here with a list of things you wanted to talk about today? Or
Yes
did
and
you?
no.
Yeah.
Because, well, I've listened to previous episodes, so I know that you're also always thinking about things.
You know we're going to get
Ashley's
pretty
thinking
deep.
about things. But I also know that there's so many things that we could talk about.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And I thought about putting a list together of things, but also I just let them rumble around and then we'll pick them up when they go.
So it's like one of them bingo things that just go around and you're waiting for the next one to be called.
Right.
I have the same thing.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Somebody's up there just turning it around on
I
me.
love
And so I could skip from one to the other and back and forth.
Yeah.
But, well, I know from talking with my wife that that's not pleasant for other people.
I'm talking to my wife.
Does your wife coach you?
No. She,
I feel like mine does me.
she also has ADD.
Okay.
She also would much rather not meet with people.
Very introverted though, right? Your wife?
yeah.
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 Yeah. Very quiet. Sweet as can
Okay,
be,
but-
very introverted.
Okay, so that's actually kind of neat that you bring that up. Your wife is introverted, yet you're autistic. So in a way, you're supposed to be introverted,
Oh, I am.
but
there will come a
you
point.
don't show it. That's the craziest
That's
part
right.
because you'll be the first one to walk up to
I'm
me
not supposed
and be
to.
like, "Hey, I'm so okay." So
It's because I'm uncomfortable, and I know that if I talk to you or somebody I know, that's the start.
so
and I can
that
go from there.
it helps kind of
Mhm.
cool you out.
I was talking to
Man.
Ashley 6 months or so ago. We had a happy hour, and there were lots of people. I mean, it was maybe 12 people there from Master Networks. I knew 2, 3 of them.
Yeah.
And it was just so awkward because they all have their own little groups.
Oh yeah.
And at that point, it's a new president, not so sure of things, but I knew I was supposed to be engaging and do this stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was real nerve-wracking.
Sure. I mean, it's nerve wracking for the normal person, right? To walk into.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
situations.
just walk in and I'm like, "Hey, I'm here. Hi, everybody."
Right. No, you just stand there and everybody comes and talks to you.
No.
I watched the episode. I can
I watched the episode.
no.
I love that.
No, it's
It's that memory.
no, I have issues too. I over the years I've learned though, I'm not going to get through them if I don't just do it.
Mm.
And it's almost become a comfortably numb situation to me where I'm just like, I don't even think about it anymore. I know it's going to be awkward, so I'm going to be the one that makes it awkward.
Yeah.
I honestly, my wife yells at me all the time. You can't say that. Why? Why can't I say that? He was laughing. I'm laughing. We're good now.
That's right.
We're best friends.
So Jason Carlton, I always say, it's always awkward or it's only awkward if you make it awkward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And he would respond, and you always do, Spencer.
Yeah, I probably make it awkward sometimes, but
Good.
I'll be the one in the room to say the things that people aren't saying, or
Mhm.
it's the elephant in the room. I'm going to point out the elephant.
Right.
And my wife yells at me for it. And I'm like, why?
I've
Let's
seen your
start a
Facebook
conversation.
posts.
Oh God.
Let's start a conversation. Is that part of the you say fake it, I say act as if, right? Because again, negative
Sure.
makes a
Sure.
negative word, right? But like when you act as if, do you feel like you do that awkward thing to break the ice and get a laugh, so then everybody's like, oh, okay, we're comfortable. This is
Yeah.
to take away the
Yeah.
uncomfortable part.
It doesn't always work though.
No. I'm sure.
Sometimes it just, everybody's like, is this guy what?
Yeah.
Did he
Oh, there's there are times I'm like, well, that didn't work. And then you're like, oh, what else is in the bag?
Then you got to think of something else to.
Yeah.
Oh, this
And it's happened. And eventually, again, you learn to read the room. I mean, that's kind of part of it. There's certain things I won't say at church sometimes, but
Well, why the fuck not?
right. So,
That's funny.
oh, there's been things I've said to the priest, and even he's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm just telling you like it is. But you do. You kind of, you got to read the room. You got to figure it out. But you cross over those fears. You've got to cross through that line. You've already drawn the line. You
Mhm.
drew the line in the sand, not somebody else. You drew that line.
Right.
You've got to cross it.
That's right.
And that's the hardest part.
Mhm.
Because you drew that line, you're like, well, I can move that a little bit. And then you move it a little bit and you're like, well, I can go a little bit
That's
more.
not so bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And then before long, you quit drawing the line.
Mhm.
You quit drawing out that line and you just walk in the room and you just do your thing, even though it's still mind boggling and it's still like, oh my God, I've got that anxious feeling, but you do it. And it's no longer, okay, if I cross this line, I did great tonight. It's just, hey, you know what? If I talk to 3 people tonight, I'm doing awesome. It starts out as, if I just go there, I'm doing great. And then it's, if I talk to one person, I'm doing great. If I talk to 2 person, and before long, you're like, there's nobody left in the room to talk to. I need somebody else.
Yeah.
And you eventually get through that, but it's always in the back of your head.
Oh yeah.
It never stops.
Even when I give my soundbite.
Really?
Yeah. Worried that I'll stumble over it or, say something out of order.
It's all right.
And people are like, oh, you've done that once or twice, huh?
But does it really matter?
No.
That's just
Well,
it.
maybe.
No. Well,
maybe if they think I can't talk right, they won't hire me right.
So but
do you want that customer?
Probably not.
But here I have that same head trash, right? So I am
Mhm.
because of how quick the thoughts come in this part of my body, right? They don't always come out this part of my body the appropriate way. And like I'll use vocabulary in the wrong spot, or I will say too much, or I will repeat. And I watch back the episodes where I will repeat something. A lot of that has to do with my trauma. Like when I say right after the end of everything, it is because
right?
It's because
See?
it's because I grew up not heard, like I didn't have a voice.
Absolutely.
So now every time I speak, I say right. Even if I'm doing like making a TikTok where I'm not really speaking to
Because
anybody.
you want validation.
Because I want to know that you heard what I said.
Absolutely.
Or when I repeat myself over and over, it's because I want to know that you heard what I said. Right.
Absolutely.
So that becomes like the conversation, because I have so much knowledge and I can spit out business knowledge. If you came to me and said, this is why I paid all the money for coaches, but sometimes I feel like people don't take me seriously because I'm not a wordsmith or I can't deliver the message.
I've done the word of the day
way.
calendar stuff. It does not sound good when you speak to just the word of the day in the wrong sentence. It doesn't work. That's just it. Okay. So you could be a Harvard grad and you can have all these huge words and you can have all this crazy stuff. Great. I don't understand a word you're talking to me about now.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue what you mean.
Yeah.
So what's the point? If I don't understand the conversation that we're having, why spend all the money to get all those crazy words?
Yeah.
Great. You sound stupid
Yeah.
because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
You're supposed to sound,
Well, I'd rather sound stupid than be stupid.
Oh,
hey.
Boom.
What did I tell my son? I'm like, you smart ass. He's like, better than being a dumbass.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
True.
Your mom said that about me when I wasn't here.
Yeah, exactly.
But so I get that word thing. Like you stumble, you don't want people to think that you are either unintelligent or don't know what you're talking about or whatever it is, right? Because I get that same thing.
Well, it's also it's coming so fast
Yes.
that
Have you learned to slow it down?
Mm-mm.
maybe, yeah, yes and no.
Oh, you're talking
I-
to Spencer? I'm sorry. I thought we were in a therapy.
I did. Well, so believe it or not, I was in.
We are, Ashley.
I was in drama in high school and also in
cool.
improv,
Wow.
which is weird to think about.
Improv is insane.
But I'm quick and I can think of
Okay.
weird things that people wouldn't, but they're funny.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not going to talk about my glory days in high school or anything now, but they were
I
good,
usually
trust
call
me.
that no filter. Like I've lost my filter because I can think of things quick. A lot of times I don't process them fast enough to know I shouldn't say it, and I say it, and then my wife yells at me for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only time that I'm really quick, I mean, probably quick-witted all the time, but the only time I'm very, very good at it, and it's a negative thing, is whenever I'm in an argument with somebody.
Ooh,
Because I can come back at you like,
that's the worst.
Jimmy, and then like a tongue lashing too, because I've probably thought about this exchange before we ever had it, and now I'm ready and prepared.
Right.
Remind me not to piss you off.
That's right. Don't
So
forget it.
I think about the argument afterwards.
I'm
and
the
that's where all
same
my
way.
good stuff comes
Exactly.
out.
Yeah.
And then if we ever rematch, okay, well, you're thinking you're pretty cool now, but actually, now I've had some time to think about it and parse it.
Yeah.
Tell you what I really think.
Dissect the entire thing we had last time.
Yes.
I got it this time.
Yes. It's a super, I mean, that's a negative trait though, because it comes out just as fast when I'm trying to do good, but it doesn't make sense. Where if we're in an argument, I'm like, oh, you ready? Let's go. Which is a terrible trait. I need to work on that.
I've seen some of your text messages. I've received some of your text
My
messages.
rage texts.
No, just the off the wall stuff that I'm like, that didn't make any. What is she talking about?
Yes. And then I start a different conversation in the next text and he's
Yeah,
still answering
totally.
the first
I'm
one.
still trying to figure out the first one, trying to dissect it and answer it. And she's already on to she's 3 steps ahead of me. And I'm like, Ashley,
Gotta keep
what
up.
was the consensus on the last thing that we had?
What are we even talking
Are we
Bullet-
changing the name or what are we doing here?
You need to number these or bullet points or something.
Yeah.
Yes, right? So our time's going to come to an end. We definitely have to have you back though for
Oh,
part
yeah,
two.
that's
Because
a-
I feel
that's a
like
must-have.
for those of you watching too, please comment. Obviously, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on Facebook or TikTok, comment either your struggles or your point of view on this and your opinion, because
If you want to be on here and talk about this, we would love to have you.
Yeah, if you want to come talk to me about it, it'd be great.
yes,
There you go. See,
There you go.
I think he's going to be a regular.
I think so too.
We're going to have to add another mic.
See, I don't know. It's unacceptable not to invite myself on. So here I am.
But there's a lot I think people can learn, and a lot of power that comes from you sharing your story. For a lot of people that haven't come out
I
and
agree.
shared this about
Mhm.
themselves, or maybe that are struggling,
Or scared to even talk about it.
yes. What is your advice to somebody that may be autistic or maybe struggling with neurodivergency? What is your advice for them if they're entering or are in the business world?
So first of all, it's got to be something that you're interested in. If you don't have an interest, it's not gonna work.
Mm,
I think that's important, but also set realistic goals.
mhm.
If you know yourself, you know what you're capable of. Don't give yourself too much leniency, too much slack, but also, be aware of what is realistic.
Mhm.
Because you want to set yourself up to succeed
Right.
from the start.
Exactly.
You want to succeed.
So for me, I like routines.
Mhm.
I'm a
Okay.
routine guy. Which is also a big challenge for business because I
It's one of the worst.
So if it's not part of my routine,
Mhm.
I know that I'm more likely to mess it up, more likely to forget it, more likely to not do it at all. So if there are important things that you know are required for your business that you want to do, make a routine, have specific times. And I know it's not as easy because, some people tell people with autism, well, just keep a notebook, write everything down. Oh, okay, yeah. Where's my notebook though?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So it's
Wow,
that's a good movie though. Been a while since I watched it.
that was a squirrel moment.
Was The Notebook? You said it.
I know,
So
I
good.
know. I knew where you were going with it, but boy, did that just squirrel out.
That was so good. I like it.
Yes, that's right.
That was perfect. No,
Uh-huh.
I'd love to have you back. I think we definitely need to do this more on a regular with him. And yeah, I think
Sure.
I think there's a lot of knowledge in there that we can still tap into and help
That's
a lot
true.
of people with it.
That's
So
true.
Yep.
that's the
I
best
don't
part.
like talking myself up, but I am a fairly intelligent guy, and I like to learn a lot of
You
things
are.
and
You
know
know, you can
things.
tell.
And so
No.
I know a lot about a little about a lot of different things.
And I'm sure we're going to get quite a few viewers that are going to be.
Yeah, we'll have
talking
to have
about
you
it,
back
so.
because that's why I want the engagement from the viewers so that we can ask the questions or concerns or
Yeah,
you know what they want to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where can people find you?
So they can find me at Master Network chapter meetings Tuesday or Thursday mornings, or kinsmanconstructionllc.com. We also have a Facebook page, Kinsman Construction,
Perfect.
or you can reach out to Pat or Ashley, and then I get a hold of me.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well,
We'll get your stuff posted up there. That way people can reach out to you if they need to.
Yeah,
yeah, get you tagged in it.
Yeah, we'll get you tagged and everything.
Well, thanks again for coming to do this.
sure. Thanks for having me. It was a great time.
And that concludes our episode 7 for mental mismanagement, where perfection is for losers, and we're just winging it.
We're just winging it.
I forgot.